Go.
Hold on, sorry. You're on, Tony.
All right. Good evening. It's 7 o'clock here in the northeast of the United States. I say the same thing all the time. And this is the Tibet Center, Kunchab Tarduling, a Buddhist meditation and study center located in New York City and northern New Jersey. And this is our twice weekly presentation of the Buddha Dharma. Before we start, we have some important information, some press release, whatever. We would like to ask you to subscribe to our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagrams. This will help us. Also take note of our website where we have our fall fund drive, which we have every year at this time when it's tax time and everyone can get a tax break by donating to our 501c corporation, the Tibet Center, Inc. You could donate online, Facebook or Instagram, our website, whatever. We'll come to your house. Who knows? Your donation helps us offer these lectures, white tarot presentations, etc. on the house. None of our Dharma is ever charged for. Also, we will have a class on Monday nights in New York City starting on January 6th, 2025, the first Monday after New Year's. And the place is where? Balance Arts Center, 151 West 30th Street, New York City, 10001, between 6th and 7th Avenues, in other words, within throwing distance of Penn Station. So it's easy to get to, safe neighborhood, plenty of food offerings, which is on your mind all the time, we know that. But anyway, it's very convenient for anyone who rides the commuter trains, Long Island Railroad, no subways necessary, and the Jersey Transit, no subway necessary, just walk 2 blocks. It's great, and it's safe, and it's everything. So, unfortunately, our teacher, Venerable Vreeland, has had a tooth extraction and is now dealing with that, lying down upstairs. So he asked me to pinch it. So I'll try to spark a discussion, a meeting of the minds, as it were. So we'll start with the normal prayers. All the prayers we say are on the website in the FAQ section. Scroll down to prayers. If there's anyone who has passed away recently, place their names in the chat box, and when we say the Sutra, the Recollection of the Noble Three Jewels, everyone will see their name and remember them. So we'll start with a prayer for the spreading of the teachings throughout the length and breadth of the West. By the force of the blessings of the non-fallacious 3 precious gems and of the truth of our pure selfless wishes, may the precious Buddhist teachings flourish and spread to the expanse of all areas throughout the length and breadth of the West, for all the people living there, together with their near ones, who have engaged in the teachings and have faith and respect for them. May all conditions adverse to their practice of the pure Dharma be dispelled, and an excellent collection of favorable conditions increase like the waxing moon. And especially for those who work on methods to accomplish the flourishing and spreading of the victorious one's teachings, which are the source of benefit and happiness, may they never be oppressed by masses of interference and adverse conditions, and may this spontaneously happen just as we have hoped and wished. The Heart Sutra, specifically the Heart of Wisdom Sutra. Thus have I heard once, the Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of the Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a big gathering of great monks and great bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the samadhi which examines the dharmas, called profound illumination, and at the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the profound practice of transcendent knowledge, saw the 5 skandhas and their natural emptiness. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Avalokiteshvara, "How should those noble ones learn who wish to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge?" And Avalokiteshvara answered, "Venerable Shariputra, whoever wishes to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge should look at it like this, seeing the 5 skandhas and their natural emptiness. Form is empty. Emptiness itself is form. Emptiness is not separate from form. Form is not separate from emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discriminating awareness, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Thus, all the dharmas are empty and have no characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, since there is emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discriminating awareness, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no objects of mind, no quality of sight, no quality of hearing, no quality of smelling, no quality of tasting, no quality of sensing, no quality of thought, no quality of mind consciousness. There are no nirvanas from ignorance to old age and death, nor their wearing out. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no ending of suffering, and no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, since there is no attainment, the bodhisattvas abide by means of transcendent knowledge. And since there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear, they transcend falsity and pass beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the past, present, and future, by means of transcendent knowledge, fully and clearly awaken to unsurpassed, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of transcendent knowledge, the mantra of deep insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering, should be known as truth, for there is no deception. In transcendent knowledge, the mantra is proclaimed, Tayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhisoha. O Shariputra, this is how Bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn profound transcendent knowledge. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and praised the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, saying, Good, good, O son of noble family, profound, transcendent knowledge should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering in the world with its gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, their hearts full of joy, praised the words of the Blessed One. And now, Refuge and Bodhisattva Vow, or Generating Bodhicitta, as the title states. We say these verses 3 times. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. So in keeping with the current tradition, let me go and get a rosary so we can say Om Mani Padme Hum together and be happy. Otherwise we won't do it. The tradition established by Venerable Vreeland that we do a round of Om Mani Padme Hum, and remembering the meaning of it, wisdom and compassion combined in one mantra. We'll do just 108 or whatever you got, 111 somehow. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Here's Mr. Mindfulness goes to get a rosary, and there's one around my neck. That's it. We're on our game here. So don't look towards me as a practitioner's example.
Better to have two than to have none.
What has to
Better to have two
better have two than have
than
none.
have none.
So, tonight's topic. I'm not going to go over the text that Venerable Reland is doing so well, because he's speaking from his deep experience, which I ain't got. But this is the 14th Dalai Lama. I've been introducing this a little, speaking about it. His new stages of the path. It's in 2 volumes. The second one concerns the 5th Dalai Lama's Manjushri talks. I don't even understand exactly what, but this is very good. He skips around here, and he sort of echoes some of the things that we've been saying in Beyond Religions, the secular ethics type of approach. So you may not be interested in religion, but you need to be a good person, because for your own benefit, you'll be happier. And everyone wishes to be happy, and that's that. That we've established. Even the guy in prison wants to be happy, even more so, whatever. So he jumps around different topics. This chapter is from the chapter called Religion. The next chapter is the one called Science. So we're meant to evoke discussion here. We want your opinion and not the text's opinion, just you reacting to the text. So I'm picking up on page 114. The preceding discussion was how in India they were very tolerant, and now it looks like they're having problems with tolerance. But even those who, for instance, the Lokayatas, those who had thought of no past lives, no future lives, hedonism, in other words. And they would argue with these people, but they would still respect their leaders and call them rishi. So that's the introductory passage to this part that I'm going to read now. And you're meant to think about it, criticize, reject, accept, whatever. So, if in the middle of page 114, I don't know if we're going to pick up this text in the future as the main text. We might, it's up to Ling Rinpoche. So, if a religious practitioner mixes faith with attachment to their own religion, their mind falls to prejudice. This is an idea.
Say that one more time, I'm so sorry.
If a religious practitioner mixes faith with attachment to their own religion, their mind falls to prejudice. A mind that is one-sided cannot see the complete reality of the situation. It goes right into the depth of things. We're using this book. There's an extra copy here given by Leslie Sawyer of New York and Connecticut. Right? You're in 2 places all the time.
That was an offering.
To the gods, to Vulcan, Cancer Rinpoche. So it's here for the benefit of all. Eugene has just memorized the whole thing. Thank you, Eugene. So anyway, you're kidding yourself if you just my religion, my. It doesn't work. That's not the purpose of real religion. So you can't see the complete reality if you're one-sided. He's getting very deep right away. In practice, that will lead to difficulties of not being in accord with reality. That goes right to the heart. For example, the Buddhist texts on epistemology say that the happy mind we all desire is a result of what? Validly perceiving cognition. Ooh, we never heard that before.
Validly perceiving cognition.
Yes, whereas the suffering that we all want to avoid comes from a misperceiving cognition about the whole of reality. Let's get, that's, so this is very significant. Yeah, I think so. It's an understatement. Knowing that knowledge that conforms to to reality is a valid cognition. Any mode of apprehending that is at odds with reality is a misperception. What do you think? It gets very heavy right away. He means, what is the true nature of reality? Yes. What is it?
That's quite a broad topic.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Emptiness. Meditation on what is reality behind what we see and what we project.
Right, is emptiness, you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't, right?
But it's also form.
Impermanence.
Form,
Yeah. Emptiness is form.
you could say that, I'm sure. It's not different. When you realize what it really is, you will see form as emptiness, yeah.
Right. I mean, you could
You know-
become an emptiness junkie, though, and like think that emptiness is the thing that.
Then you get tenure.
I just
Get
think that
promoted.
I think you need to like reintegrate your understanding of emptiness.
We
into-
told all of us. I mean,
Yeah.
that's okay. So at least he's establishing the highest standard. If you want valid cognition, go deep, not just the apparent, what you see as a result of your conditioning over the billions of years, but what's underneath. How come there's a misread between what I feel and then what's there? And a lot of loose ends we can't tie up. Of course, don't expect this to happen tomorrow night.
Right.
Unless you're really great, and I wish if that happens, please sit here and so I can prostrate to you. So the happy mind we all desire is a result of validly perceiving cognition. You could take it simply. You mistake something, you get all riled up about this and that. No, that's not the way it is. What's wrong with you? Oh. There's a lot of O's when you start to practice spirituality. Oh, that's what they, oh. So, a Chilean acquaintance, I think he's talking about Varela, the Chilean, maybe somebody else, who was there's been these mind and life conferences for the last 40 years, and he's brought in scientists, everybody, except lawyers. No, but good. But I think this is Varela, a Chilean acquaintance who was a learned psychologist. He was a physicist, so maybe not. Explained that if a scientist mixes attachment with science, it damages any observation of the truth and is inappropriate. Yes? Agree? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is very similar. Therefore, to be able to have a perfect understanding of any situation surrounding the economy, religion, the environment, and so on, or of complete significance of a person's action or conduct, it is imperative to know the complete situation, the reality that underlies everything. So,
Right, if you're grasping at anything or trying to kind of keep something fixed and not able to actually see what the reality is.
I would think so.
Then you
Yeah.
can't like actually practice true science, I suppose.
No, that's right.
Or medicine or anything. Yeah.
I mean, they do, but that's
Yeah.
especially when they work for Big Pharma. The actual reality, this is on page 115 now. The actual reality of a situation is a product of many circumstances. Okay, there's a lot of factors on any event that's happening. And so whatever that reality is, we should be able to see all of it. If we see that, we will see everything. Yeah, now this is the goal. Don't expect tomorrow night to wake up and say, I got it. Hidden phenomena that are beyond thought, beyond words, and beyond expressions are found in all religions. He's hitting you with it now. And he's saying God in Christianity, Allah in Islam, the wisdom Dharmakaya in Buddhism, and so on, are phenomena beyond thought and verbal expression. Beyond thought. What kind of thought? Probably linear, bifurcated thought, or whatever you want to call it, this and that. I would think. I don't know. But that's his. What do you think? Interrupt whenever you feel like.
Logic, conception, any kind of thing where you can name something probably is the wrong kind of thought.
Very good. Yeah. Name and form. All this. Yeah. Yes. Therefore, in all traditions, when talking of ultimate truths, and he's equating them, he's not making Buddhism a pariah, an outlier. All these other religions have their element of the ultimate truth in them. I think he's leading to that. That's my opinion. So, therefore, in all traditions, when talking of ultimate truths, it proceeds on the basis of them being beyond thought and expression. Can this be comprehended by the valid cognitions of ordinary beings? This is a common difficulty faced by all religions. So how do we go beyond the normal thinking that we do? All religions have it. That's very sweet that he says this. It gives us a lot of impetus to study other religions and not write them off and they don't know. Yeah. We know, we're Buddhists. Yeah. Saying that alone throws you out of the game. There are some excellent instructions, practices, and conduct in other religious traditions, and even if we assert that they are not superior to those found in Buddhism, it is also the case that they are not inferior. Who wants to debate this guy? No one. We Tibetan Buddhists should hold these up as good examples. I can mention a few. In some Christian monasteries, he lays it on his own monks now, you got to hear this. In some Christian monasteries, silence is maintained, and the monks there live up to the name of going from home to homelessness. They dwell there with body, speech, and mind pacified and well-disciplined, and in a great state of conscientiousness. They are absorbed, body and mind, to their religious practices, and all food, clothing, and instruction is provided by the monastery. By looking after the monastery and taking care of the poor and so on, they work solely for the benefit of the local community, never involving themselves in the business of personal finance or in the affairs of family and friends. They have few desires and live in contentment, not being allowed to have any luxury possessions. They never lapse into a state of wanton or reckless self-enjoyment. The monks in the monastery are not even allowed to have a mobile phone. Where it's Tibetan monasteries, they're all over the place. So he's telling the truth. That's what I love. They have so few possessions. Many of our monastic disciplines are just left in the books, whereas they actually put into practice their monastic regulations. This is excellent behavior, and whether heard or seen, is well worthy of praise. These things can also be understood from the attitude and behavior of Christian monks and nuns everywhere who work in schools and hospitals. He's always getting on the case. If we don't look what they've done, what are we doing? There are a number of Christians who have practiced meditation, for example, from the Buddhist tradition. Therefore, if we can value, respect, and accept the good in each of our religions as best as we can, without doubt, this will be a contributing factor in increasing good relations between world religions. That's the end of the religion chapter. Nice piece of, very warming, you know. Of course, you can, I guess all religions, depending on the character of the person, how seriously they take it. He keeps good ethics upstairs. I've known him a long time, 47 years. He is on the money. He's a fanatic. I say, but no, he brings it to the table. So you want to say, science, enough. You mean grants? You mean tenure spots? History tells us there was no expression of religion during the very beginning of civilization, and that the formation of the religious traditions as we know them arrived at about 3,000 or 4,000 years ago. I was there, tell all that. No. The people of ancient times had no power to overcome the difficulties and hardships they faced, and they identified the beneficial powers of the natural world, in which they had placed their trust since the beginning of time as, quote, gods, the god of the fire, the god of the whatever, and its harmful powers as demons. Over time, people propounded the existence of gods and even a supreme being, which were identified as sources of hope, in contrast to the demonic forces intent to harm. This was the foundation for the reification of these two sides. They solidified. It's human behavior. I don't think it changed. So, certain beings were identified as sources of destructive power, and rituals were initiated to kill them or drive them out. Perhaps there were those who did not accept these views, but we cannot know whether they had other objects in which they placed their faith. I mean, there's not much record. So, from the 18th century up to the beginning of the 20th, all right, we have everything tracked there, faith and trust in material progress grew considerably. And that's more or less what's holding court now. But he's going to have something to say about that. Whereas interest in religion waned. During the second half of the 20th century, and particularly in the 21st century, material development reached unprecedented levels, resulting in an extraordinary increase in our living standards. However, faith and religion, which people had for thousands of years, ceased being given the same level of importance. I have a friend who's a great scholar in economics, and it was considered productive that we wrote a book together. I am no expert in economics, and I have no experience in that field. We were having a discussion on whether decent human attitudes, living within the law, ethical behavior, and so on, had a place even in the field of economics. Doesn't look like it. It's certainly not on Wall Street. I asked him if a fear of God or a sense of shame and modesty in the face of God was beneficial or not. He replied that this was 18th century thinking, a time when there were many who believed in God, but it was not like that in the 19th and 20th century. They didn't have what they used to call the fear of God, a God-fearing person. There is how you think of that concept, fearing God. What kind of God did you create that you're now afraid of him? A cop? I don't know. This goes along with the nuns, though. They like that. I'm joking. There is the question of how much religion conforms to science. These are the days not of faith, but of investigation and science. Agreed or not? In the 18th and 19th centuries, when modern science was developing, interest in religion declined. This was due to the approach that many religions took of not focusing on the human intellect or engaging in investigation through reasoning, but having sole respect for the Word of God and relying only on faith as their foundation. And people do that today. So is that legit or not? There's a big question. The person of pure faith, not asking questions, just devotion. How far does that get you?
Not very far. I mean,
We don't know.
eventually-
Yeah.
Eventually, you either are completely out of touch with any kind of reality around you because you have to be, or you encounter something that questions your faith and then it completely demolishes it, and it's like building an amazingly large tower only to have it collapse.
What if you took the discipline, just as a discipline, to change your thought patterns? Islam means servant, big servant. Just get rid of your and surrender to this or that and this behavior that's prescribed. I don't know. I mean, I'm not certainly not the kind of person that likes that. But anyway,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, depends again, because you, as a personal practice, it might work, but eventually you're going to encounter people that aren't willing to.
And you're going to have, whoops, and there goes my page. Yeah. Italians shouldn't talk with their hands when they're holding a book open. What are we talking about? We talk about science. And Buddhist science. I'm going to give Buddhist science too. I marked a few passages so we don't go through the whole thing. How much religion conforms to science? Okay.
I remember in the courses I've been taking with Geshe Damdo, him speaking
A scientist himself, yeah.
speaking about blind faith and
Yeah, let's hear it.
really not recommending it repeatedly. But I know that's such a trait of Buddhism, is to constantly inquire, constantly ask questions, only believe it when you have investigated it for yourself.
Cut it, burn it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's to say that someone that is following purely on faith is less or more happy than someone else. They could be perfectly happy, but yeah, certainly in the Buddhist tradition, questions and inquiry is kind of like the biggest, seemingly a very big player in the game. Not that it's a game, but
Mm-hmm.
Would you think that they'd be happy for a while until they encounter a dilemma?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think eventually, if you have, eventually reality asserts itself, and you can have your personal bubble where everything makes sense to you in the context of what you hold blind faith in. But Personally, I think you're going to eventually encounter something that will question it and then cause it to collapse, and that will be more devastating than if you didn't have faith at all.
Right. Yeah.
Stopgap measure, maybe? Behaving this way by the book for a while until you subdue some of your wilder impulses.
There's something
There's
to be
impulse
said
control
for-
that comes into this.
Yeah, it's a good point though, like the stopgap idea, because I've encountered this idea that education is in stages, right?
Mhm.
And what you tell an undergraduate
Stages of the path.
is
Yeah.
not what you tell a graduate
That's
student.
true. What you tell of
It's true.
And what you
That's
tell a
true.
kindergartner is not what you tell a
that's
college
right.
student,
Yes.
right?
What you
So-
tell a beginning practitioner, not what you tell a tantric practitioner,
Yeah,
the highest yoga tantric practitioner, a close to the guru tantric practitioner. It goes up, up, up. Yes. It's relative. It's
Does it feel like with faith there's some, I don't know, it feels like, I know for myself that inquiry is such a big part of my own path. And I think it's tied in with Buddhism so tightly. I could never, I don't know if I could ever venture to say on someone else's behalf that faith alone is not enough in some way. Feels like faith has like something to it that almost one couldn't describe or analyze in a way, but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
I wouldn't disagree with that, and I wouldn't tell somebody who has faith they should not have faith.
Right.
But I would also be standing behind them, waiting for them to collapse
Oh, God.
to help pick them up. No, I mean, it's happened in my life. People that were very, very devout, and very, very
Yeah.
devoted to something, and then they like had something that really, really deeply questioned it, and then they were like ready to go AWOL, you know, and go completely crazy.
yeah.
And so you need to have like something there to say, okay, like I understand that you put all of your chips on this roulette square, but there are other ways to process. There are other ways to be ethical, and you don't need to have a supreme being to be ethical, for example.
There is no supreme.
Well, you know,
Well, maybe. I don't know. Not the way the guy with a beard, you know.
Right.
That's out, right? The women's magazines took care of that. Enough the way. Fortunately, I marked the book. So here, the 3 types of faith in Buddhism. This is from page 112. The Buddhist scriptures establish 3 kinds of faith. Number 1, pure faith, trust or belief, and longing faith. So there's pure faith, trust or belief, and longing faith. Seeing the wonderful qualities of the 3 jewels and so on, a purity arises in the mind, through which the mind becomes clear and free of troubles, making it suitable for the development of the qualities of insight. This is the first kind of faith. In other words, sometimes I call it admiring faith. So, you want to say it again? You want to hear it
Yeah.
again?
Admiring faith?
They used to call it that. There are all kinds of names for this. This is his current iteration of the nomenclature.
Okay.
All right. The Buddhist scriptures establish 3 kinds of faith: pure faith, trust or belief, and longing faith. 1. Seeing the wonderful qualities of the 3 jewels and so on, a purity arises in the mind. You're captivated, maybe, whatever. You think about it, how it actually takes place. Through which the mind becomes clear and free of troubles. You know, that makes sense. You know, that works out. Well, the things like that, you talk to yourself before you tell yourself to shut up. No. So the mind becomes clear and free of troubles. Oh, something is workable here. Somebody's been doing this ahead of me. Oh, and also somebody knows more than me. What? So it's suitable for the quality, developing insight. That's the first kind of faith. Seeing the reasons behind the presentations on cause and effect in the teachings of the Buddha, as well as reasons for the existence of past and future lives, and so on, a certainty is generated. A solidity, a certainty is generated. This is the faith of belief or trust. I would take it that when I hear trust or belief, you're just taking a leap. He's using the words differently here. So that's the faith of, so I'll say it again, seeing the reasons behind the presentations on, for instance, cause and effect in the teachings of the Buddha, as well as reasons for the existence of past and future lives and so on, a certainty is generated. This is the faith of belief or trust. In reliance upon such perfect reasoning, so there's no leap here, this has been scoped out, suffering and the causes of suffering are ascertained as that which is to be eradicated, and the cessation of suffering in the path are ascertained as that which should be taken and developed. From that, one wishes to become an enlightened Buddha, the results of the proper practice of eradication and development. This is the third kind of faith. So it's hard to put names on them, but you got to think it through and think what the mind is going through when it starts to investigate Buddhism. So, it is a relief when you see things are worked out. You know, oh, that makes sense. Yes, things have to be caused. Wait a minute. It takes maybe years for that, but it works. And then there's a lot of space in the mind to start looking around and thinking. I don't know. One day I'll be able to verify. Therefore, for someone like me, this is the Dalai Lama talking, if someone like me, one of the guys, who believes in dependent origination and is a religious follower who propounds no self, I cannot hold as an object of refuge for the three kinds of faith those religious traditions who adhere to assertions of the existence of a creator and so on, or those religious practitioners who follow such traditions. However, for me to pay respect in complete sincerity is only right and proper. Right, we don't agree, but look, here's somebody trying. There's somebody who has the right motive. What can we do to direct them? I don't know. You could think of your own encounter with reading books, etc. Does this play out? If it isn't helpful, then most people would not pay attention. So it seems that some people are taking this up. So I would hope. You just mentioned it at the right time here. Okay. So we're back to science. What else? He gets very heavy and he gets very scientific in some spots. And he jumps around. He gives you the history of Buddhism. He sort of not stays on the linear narrative. He's giving you history of Buddhism, the Nalanda masters. Then he comes back to something scientific. It's a fast cut technique. This guy's he's watched too many movies, maybe. So. From page 130, still in the science section. Bottom paragraph. Scientific investigations have employed various techniques to understand the experience of happiness and suffering. They on their own. For example, brain scans reveal that at times of great affection, love, and compassion, the left side of the brain is very active and the body's immune system is strengthened. So, go snuggle your honey, Your immune system will improve. You got a cold? Grab somebody. These mental states are considered to be effective for improving health. In contrast, when disturbed states of mind such as anger are manifest, the right side of the brain is clearly active, which in turn weakens the immune system. I know nothing about the immune system, but you're off duty. I see. Okay.
You're the teacher here tonight.
No, I'm not. I don't teach. I present.
You present.
You have to have experience to teach. You have to teach
I put the onus
from in here.
on
The book.
One of the guests.
Well, that was a limited topic, a scientific
Limited
topic.
topic.
We're calling on her legal expertise, like we called in a lawyer. We called in a scientist. But enough.
Okay.
These mental states consider effective for you. Okay. From these results, it can be established that a peaceful and controlled mind is directly beneficial for the welfare of the body, whereas a violent, disturbed, and uncontrolled mind is damaging. If that doesn't bring people to the floor, nothing will. For your own benefit, shut up, calm down, please. I know in my case, you want your blood pressure to zoom, get angry. There it goes. You're in Mars. Therefore, even from a perspective of the welfare of body and mind, it can be proven that compassion and a peaceful, controlled mind are necessary. Similarly, in response to my suggestion, some scientists and Western school teachers had their students meditate daily for 10 to 20 minutes on love and compassion. When they evaluated the results after a few weeks, they found that these students' personalities had become gentler and kinder. Their minds were relaxed, and they felt happier. This was supposedly done in the scientific method. Do this and see what happens. The main thing in Buddhism doesn't say believe this, believe that. Do this, let me know what happens. It's important to recognize this profound and powerful connection between innate human values of love, compassion, and tolerance, and so on, and the alleviation of bodily and mental difficulties. That should be a good sell for the average person, I would think. One difficulty that science faces these days is that any experience of an individual consciousness is by nature subjective. He doesn't shun away from any of this. He brings it up, okay? How so? The nature of consciousness has to be understood through meditation. That is individual investigation into the characteristics of awareness. You yourself in the library or in the lab of your mind. Do this, see what happens. The individual can talk about their experience, but another person has no way to evaluate or measure them. They cannot be verified by a third person. A big problem. How do you get a grant? You can't get somebody to verify it. Although sciences have yet to reach an understanding of consciousness, significant scientific investigation into the mind has begun. Gradually, researchers of the brain are pursuing their investigations, and their interest in the nature of consciousness continues to grow. This is a positive step. Agree? Not agree? I think it is. Prevention of and recovery from illness, the well-being of society and the individual, and many other things will all benefit from the science of the mind. The Buddhist declaration that all physical and verbal movement depend upon mental activity is becoming better accepted. Therefore, investigation into consciousness is extremely important. So what do you think the problem is? Third-party verification, how do you do that? It's difficult. They can track brain waves. You know, when you're compassionate, you think of getting up and doing something, not just laying back and basking in the glow. They've proved that with fMRI and all that stuff, the little I know. So at least it started and people looking into it, and not just, Buddhism, they watch their navel, No, we don't. The discoveries made by modern science in the field of inanimate matter, as well as scientific explanation of these phenomena, are far more detailed and more clearly presented than those found in Buddhist literature. This is undeniable. So, the common basis, I know so much time we have left. We got 15 minutes, okay. This is page 132 in the science section. Still, the common basis, this is the heading of the top of the section, common basis shared by Buddhism and science and the value of an opposing force. What? Over the last several decades, there have been 30 conferences that have brought together in dialogue Buddhist philosophical scholars from Tibet and modern science. It's everybody and their brothers. But you get those Mind and Life series books, very top scientists, and physicists, biologists, the whole group. They're really who's on some of them. Who's that Austrian guy? The great physicist that's always
Which there's a lot.
Anton Zeilinger, yeah. He's in some of them. Is he still around?
I think so.
Yeah. Him and his daughter, Tanya, and a few others. They in the science part. Then he has a lot of thinkers, a lot of even politicians.
He's still around.
He's still around. Yeah. He's the teacher of the Dalai Lama in physics. He goes, that's pretty good.
He's also a Nobel Prize winner.
Yeah.
Minor detail.
A small thing, yeah. No. Yeah, no. That ups his salary a little, That's what it's all about. Is it? No. Of course it is, yes. Many other meetings have been held. One major finding of these discussions is that the science taught in Buddhism and Western science are similar to each other in their determining the nature of the truth of suffering. Ooh. For this, the meetings are an aid to the development of the Buddhist theoretical tradition. Many learned scientists these days have shown an increasing interest in Buddhist explanations, primarily in the process of investigating through reasoning, which include existence and non-existence, permanence and functioning phenomena, form, consciousness, and non-associated compositional phenomena. They always bring that in. Any list in Buddhism, not associated. Oh, you mean you couldn't fit it in? Valid and non-valid cognition, continuum, subtle particles, the causes of consciousness, past and future lives, conducive and opposing causes and conditions, and so on. These are becoming starting points or platforms for modern scientific, research, and they serve as a starting point for dialogue. They're really fascinating. They're on tape, and you can buy books, the printouts of them. So,
To check it out.
yeah, there's some upstairs maybe too. Another one good was Dalai Lama at Harvard and those things. There's a lot, but if you want to take your time and look at things scientifically without any reliance on faith, it's there. 3 decades have passed since these discussions began, and he started them all, His Holiness. They started out from my private interest and over time have developed into regular discourses between Buddhist philosophical scholars and modern scientists. In recognition of the benefit to those who study the classical texts of Buddhist literature, the study of science was introduced into various monastic curriculums over a decade ago. The nun who appeared here is becoming the main science teacher for a lot of the monks and nuns in India. She goes to Emory, she loads up, she comes back. It's that simple. See, I always make it imbecilic, but that's it. But there's such a great, Nikki said even his monks study from memory or whatever, through other monks, or they go there themselves, whatever. So it can't hurt. It's got to help. In the past, we Tibetans took the Indians as our teacher and studied the Buddhist works of the great Indian masters. Now we have taken Westerners as our teachers in order to learn modern science. Good humility. From 2000 onwards, scientific study programs were initiated in some Tibetan monasteries as monthly intensive modules. And recently, students have graduated from Tibetan Buddhist colleges with a major in science. For example, in conjunction with Emory University in the USA, the best students from the Tibetan monasteries are selected to participate in a joint science program. In the future, the most important topics that connect science and Buddhism will be available to the monasteries in both Tibetan and English languages. Textbooks will be part of the science classes in the monasteries, and those who have been selected will serve as teachers and assistants in the classroom. There's a whole program going. It can't hurt. This is my hope. When those who have received a modern education, whether Tibetan or non-Tibetan, are introduced to a Buddhist education, they will be able to verify with modern science not only that it is our mind that controls happiness and suffering, not your wallet, but also that human thinking and conceptions have a direct relation with our physical health and well-being. Ouch. What do you think? Does it happen to anyone that certain meditative techniques have taken you out of a hole, a funk, a depression?
Certainly,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Oh,
it can
testify!
It can only be subjectively verified, so
Only be subjectively verified.
so it becomes difficult to.
But others can see your change in demeanor, the smile on your face, the improved quality of your jokes, perhaps, which really always benefits everyone.
I've had medical situations where they were able to look at, not your average doctors, special doctors, but being able to look at the quality of knowing that I didn't have at the time anything wrong, no viruses, nothing. But knowing that my blood was depleted in a way that was definitely caused by stress and nothing else. And that felt like very telling, of feeling like it does something to you, like stress and anxiety. And worrying about things you can't change and all these things certainly has an effect on your body, and knowing that meditation can affect your mood then can affect your body seems very sensible, certainly. But I guess it would be hard to track, how does meditation affect your happiness? I don't know how you would scientifically.
Well, but
You just know it does because you feel it, yeah.
well, it's easy to pick out the faults. You're in a situation where you're in a blind alley thinking this or that, I can't compete this or what. That's stress instantly, and that will accumulate. That has to be dealt with. First thing you could do, if you can, let go. Letting go is a big thing. It's a high technique.
Certainly.
Let it flow. But I'm not good at that. I'm a nervous wreck myself. But that I found is definitely, calm down. If you had a teacher around all the time, that helps. That's why. But these days, society isn't structured to have you follow a teacher and they take care of you and you serve them. So we have to readjust. What do we have to do? Reconstruct a dynamic where we can learn as they did in the past, somehow. Extract the knowledge from the High Lamas. But this Dalai Lama is very unusual in starting all these programs. The previous Ling Rinpoche, Chulna, told me that he called this Dalai Lama the right one at the right time, because they had left Tibet and going through that whole turmoil.
Yeah.
And he's the right one at the right time. The one now is the right one. It's still the same guy. So I'm very, very lucky that I encountered him. So that's why I think centers like ours should be around to let people know that it's out there. We don't want your dues or it's out there. Start reading, because you can't help but benefit the rest of us, I think. I don't know. But let me shut up before I cause stress. So this technique that he has now looks like it's like a magazine almost. You can browse through the chapters here. They're not that tightly constructed in a flow. Linear, that's the word. The narrative. It comes in from all angles, whereas the Lamrim itself is just start with refuge and then this. And different ones are a little different, but this is totally strange. A lot of modern input. Can't hurt. Let me see what time it is. We have 6 minutes. Darren, any names?
Yeah.
A lot, right? But anyone have any comments, complaints, or whatever? I don't know if this is going to be continued, this book, or not, but it's around. It's on sale. And the second volume is also, the fifth Dalai Lama's.
Patricia Berry,
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, someone, I don't know who sent that in.
Jane.
Oh, Jane, of course. Patricia Berry, and that's it?
Zakir Hussain.
Zakir?
Zakir Hussain, yeah.
Zakir is saying.
Yeah. Zakir Hussain, the tabla player.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. He passed away a few days ago.
You knew him?
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
So praise him.
Not a lot. Oh yeah, he's maestro.
Well put together person.
Oh yes,
Mentally,
such a
I mean.
master of the instrument and such an inspiring man for sure. Yeah, he made a recording with Julian at one point. That was very special. Yeah.
We'll have to find it. It seems that the Indian musicians, it's a form of devotion. It's sort of a religion.
Yeah.
It's more than just them playing in nightclubs. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, culturally very different, and a lot of devotion to the craft and the instrument.
And to their guru also.
Yeah. Very true.
So the Tibet Center honors people like that. So if you want us to pray for someone, add a little thing once in a while so we, praise their good qualities. That helps them if they become an example. And then we're in that situation. Maybe someone will do that. For us to at least say nothing so they don't bring up your bad parts. So Sutra of the Recollection of the Noble Three Jewels. I try to end on time because the online community wants punctuality. I prostrate to the omniscient one. Thus the Buddha Bhagavata Tathagata, Arahat Samyak Buddha, the learned and virtuous one, the Sugata, the knower of the world, the charioteer and tamer of beings, the unsurpassable one, the teacher of devas and humans is the Buddha Bhagavat. The Tathagata is in accord with all merit. He does not waste the roots of virtue. He is completely ornamented with all patience. He is the basis of the treasures of merit. He is adorned with the minor marks. He blossoms with the flowers of the major marks. His activity is timely and appropriate. Seeing him, he is without disharmony. He brings true joy to those who long with faith. His knowledge cannot be overpowered. His strengths cannot be challenged. He is the teacher of all sentient beings. He is the father of bodhisattvas. He is the king of noble ones. He is the guide of those who journey to the city of nirvana. He possesses immeasurable wisdom. He possesses inconceivable confidence. His speech is completely pure. His melody is pleasing. One never has enough of seeing him. His form is incomparable. He is not stained by the realm of desire. He is not stained by the realm of form. He is not affected by the formless realm. He is completely liberated from suffering. He is completely and utterly liberated from the skandhas. He is not possessed with dhatus. His ayatanas are controlled. He has completely cut the knots. He is completely liberated from extreme torment. He is liberated from craving. He has crossed over the river. He is perfected in all the wisdoms. He abides in the wisdom of the Buddha Bhagavats who arise in the past, present, and future. He does not abide in nirvana. He abides in the ultimate perfection. He dwells on the bhumi where he sees all sentient beings. All these are the perfect virtues of the greatness of the Buddha Bhagavat. The holy Dharma is good at the beginning, good in the middle, and good at the end. Its meaning is excellent. Its words are excellent. It is uncorrupted. It is completely perfect and completely pure. It completely purifies. The Bhagavat teaches the Dharma well. It brings complete vision. It is free from sickness. It is always timely. It directs one further. Seeing it fulfills one's purpose. It brings discriminating insight for the wise. The Dharma, which is taught by the Bhagavat, is revealed properly in the Vinaya. It is renunciation. It causes one to arrive at perfect enlightenment. It is without contradiction. It is pithy. It is trustworthy and puts an end to the journey. As for the Sangha of the great Jnana, they enter completely. They enter insightfully. They enter straightforwardly. They enter harmoniously. They are worthy of veneration with joined palms. They are worthy of receiving prostration. They are a field of glorious merit. They are completely capable of receiving all gifts. They are an object of generosity. They are a great object of complete generosity. The protector who possesses great kindness, the omniscient teacher, the basis of oceans of merit and virtue, I prostrate to the Tathagata. Pure, the cause of freedom from passion, virtuous, liberating from the lower realms. This alone is the supreme ultimate truth. I prostrate to the Dharma, which is peace. Having been liberated, they show the path to liberation. They are fully dedicated to the disciplines. They are a holy field of merit and possess virtue. I prostrate to the Sangha. I prostrate to the Buddha, the leader. I prostrate to the Dharma, the protector. I prostrate to the Sangha, the community. I prostrate respectfully and always to these three. The Buddha's virtues are inconceivable. The Dharma's virtues are inconceivable. The Sangha's virtues are inconceivable. Having faith in these inconceivables, therefore the fruitions are inconceivable. May they be born in a completely pure realm. So we will do the 8 verses for training the mind and dedicate it to the improved health of Venerable Vreeland, dear Nikki, and the improvement of anyone's health that's suffering, including Madame Lyme over here. With the determination to accomplish the highest welfare of all sentient beings, who surpass even a wish-granting jewel, I will learn to hold them supremely dear. Whenever I associate with others, I will learn to think of myself as the lowest amongst all, and respectfully hold others to be supreme from the very depths of my heart. In all actions, I will learn to search into my mind, and as soon as a disturbing emotion arises, endangering myself and others, I will firmly face and avert it. I will learn to cherish ill-natured beings and those oppressed by strong misdeeds and sufferings, as if I had found the precious treasure difficult to find. When others out of jealousy treat me badly, with abuse, slander, and so on, I will learn to take all loss and offer the victory to them. When the one whom I had benefited with great hope unreasonably hurts me very badly, I will learn to view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. In short, I will learn to offer to everyone without exception all help and happiness directly and indirectly, and respectfully take upon myself all harm and suffering of my mothers. I will learn to keep all these practices undefiled by the stains of the 8 worldly concerns, and by understanding all phenomena as like illusions, be released from the bondage of attachment. And finally, prayer for the swift return of Rato Chungla, written by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Exalted wisdom of all victors gathered in a drop, sole refuge manifest in the form of the one wearing saffron robes, Guru Lozang Tubuang Dorje Chang, please bear witness here today that our prayers may be fulfilled. We beseech the great torch of doctrine, accomplishing from long ago the vast waves of aspirational prayers, Lord of speech of the Victor Lozang's teachings, spreading them to the ends of the earth by means of explanation and practice. Though holding the commitment, I will invite all beings to be my guests in unsurpassed great awakening. Yet you have withdrawn the activities of the form body that serves the welfare of others. Is that worthy of the supreme among beings, the Bodhisattvas? Though impossible for you till cyclic existence's end, to abandon your commitment to liberate all beings, we beseech the new son of Nirmanakaya to swiftly return from the realm of Dharmakaya, brought forth by bodhicitta drawn by 7 steeds. Having reached the far limits of scholarship, religious life, and goodness, please come swiftly as unrivaled supreme emanation, full holders of the sage's teachings and wish-fulfilling jewel. Return as the glory of Lozang Tenpe. Magnificent truth of the 3 precious jewels, Mahakala, Karmayama, and Sri Mata Devi, and the ocean of Dharma protectors, may you spontaneously fulfill our wish, the swift blossoming of the reincarnation's fresh moonlight face. Well, this concludes tonight's presentation. Our next Dharma presentation is next Monday night, right here in the parsonage in South Orange at 7 o'clock, followed by Christmas Day, which is Sankapa's Day. We will have a class most likely 7 o'clock at night, so people can watch online while they're digesting their Christmas delight. If they celebrate Christmas, they don't. We're eating something anyway. So, and don't forget, once again, January 6th, we go back to New York City after a brief respite.
And that'll stay on Mondays.
That'll stay on Monday night. It'll stay at 7 o'clock on 31st Street, adjacent to Penn Station, not too far away. So quick in and out. All the trains go there, and you can even get an Uber. They know where Penn Station is. There's a joke about that, but there is. The jazz musician gets in and says, "Take me to Vanguard." I don't know where it is. Fake it. Anyway, thanks for your patience. Big love to all of you.